Okay, hi, I'm Claire. I'm a 4-H leader with Albion 4-H, and this is Stella, the guinea pig, and I will be showing you a 4-H showmanship demonstration for cavy showmanship. I'll be running through it kind of quickly at first. This is for the front view of the cavy. You pick up the cavy and place her down and pose her. Hands behind your back, not touching the table. For a side view, you pick up the cavy again, rotate her to the side, pose her, hands behind your back. To replace the cavy in front view, you pick her up again, pose her, hands behind your back. For the other side, you can do the same thing, pick her up and simply turn to the other direction to point your cavy in the other way. Pose her, hands behind your back. Pick up again, pose to front view. For rear view, you pick up the cavy, turn the way your fingers are pointing. For me, my right hand is on top, so I'll turn the way to the left to pose the cavy to the rear. Pose. To replace the cavy, go back to the right hand, picking up the cavy the same way I put her down, picking up, replacing to the front view. To check the cavy's eyes, take my 2 pointer fingers, frame the face, I'm looking at the eyes. To check the ears, take my 2 pointer fingers again, pull back both ears, I'm checking both ears. To check the front legs for straightness, you can place your hands, the underside of your knuckles, on the cavy's shoulders and gently lift up to see the front straightness of the front legs. You can also place one hand under and check both legs for straightness and counting numbers of toes. For rear legs, pick the cavy up, place her on her bottom, take 2 fingers and your thumb, and spread the legs, checking for straightness and number of toes. To check the sex of your cavy, pick her up again, place her down. For a female, you take your 2 pointer finger and index finger, spread her genitals. For a male, you would take your pointer finger and roll. Replace, you pick her up again, repose to front view. For checking the teeth and nose of your cavy, again you pick up, take your thumb and index finger, trying not to cover the eyes, and at the corner of the mouth, show both the top and bottom teeth. For checking lice and mites, you can place your cavy in the rear position and spread the hair coat at the back, the middle, and the front. Okay, for picking up your cavy, I'm right-handed, so I'll use my right hand for this demo. These 3 fingers will be around her chest, her left paw will sit here, and then her right paw will sit here, and her chest will be over this pointer finger. My left hand will be supporting her rump as I pick her up. Pick her up. You can see her left paw right there on top between my thumb and pointer finger, and then when I turn her this way, you can see my pointer finger enclosing her left paw between my fingers. Okay, for placing your cavy in rear view, you pick her up, as we have, place her down, and for rear legs, you'll have your 2 index finger and pointer finger and your thumb around either side of her hips, and gently place them on her hips and squeeze the legs together. This is carrying and holding the cavy. Pick up the cavy, place her on your arm. We'll turn this direction. Walk 3 steps. Turn again in the same direction you turned before. Walk back. Pick up your cavy, pose, hold, and place. Okay, to pose the cavy, pick her up. For example, pose her to the right side. What I'm talking about here is, in general, her breed characteristics and her coat quality and her body condition. So when I run my hands down, I'm feeling her shoulders, and I'm running them to her hips. Her type is good, meaning that her hips and her shoulders are about equal to each other, and she's not too overly conditioned or pear-shaped in the middle. If your cavy is too pear-shaped in the middle, reducing diet or adding other activities in her cage to help her increase activity would be recommended. Also, when I'm looking at type, I'm looking at her rounded Roman nose and how she's posing on her front legs. She should be sitting a little up higher, a little bit more on her front legs, and sloping down her back and coming to not an abrupt stop, but a gently slope down her back end. This is adequate for all short-haired, smooth-coated hair that cavies that their hair goes back from their face. Her crown should be large, fleshy, I can feel it here, should be appropriately positioned between her shoulders and help to make a rise from her head up over her crown and then add to this nice gentle slope down her back. When I pose her to the front and to the side and also to the rear, I'm posing her by tucking her feet under her. She mostly does it by herself, but sometimes younger cavies like to have their legs sticking out or something like that. So just making sure that her shoulders are positioned, her feet are under her, and her toes are neatly placed under her. That's posing the cavy. And for coat condition, I'm feeling the coat for texture and density, and it should not feel too thin. It should feel nice and clean, and that can be helped if you bathe their cavy 3 days before a show. They can have appropriate amount of oils in their coat. And short-haired cavies such as American satins, white cresteds, for example, should have a short, smooth coat. Hi again. Okay, a little bit more detail about the breeds. So this is a white crested cavy, is how I would enter her in a show. She's similar to many other short-coated hair types, and for posing them, I recommend posing them to the side. It gives the judge and you the best profile of her face, and of her side, and of her rear, and of her overline top line. For a long-haired cavy, I would recommend posing the cavy to the rear, in case the judge is in front of you, and then that way they can see their sweeps. But I would also recommend potentially pointing her, if she was a long-haired cavy, to the front. They could see her face, and they would also see her side sweeps. Both positions would allow the judge to see their hair types. Long-haired cavies, Peruvians will have hair coming over their face, and silkies will have the hair coming back, so you'll see their face and all their hair off to the sides. Coronets will be similar to this white crested in the fact that they have a crest here. It's just on a coronet. Long-haired cavy, it's called a coronet instead of a crest, and they'll have long sweeps coming back from their face. Texels will also have long hair, and it'll be in coarse, dense ringlets coming off of their bodies. You'll see their face, and those are the long-haired breeds. The short-haired breeds, aside from the white crested, include American satin, Abyssinian satin, Teddy satin, and the white crested. And those breeds, the teddies will have hair that runs the direction from their rump to their head. It'll be coarse and dense, and you talk a lot about density and resiliency in that breed. You should be able to pat their coat and your hand kind of bounce off of their hair when they're really primed and ready and in good show condition. The differences between Americans, which if she did not have a crest, she would be an American. The differences between the Americans and the Abyssinians is Abyssinians have rosettes, similar to like her crest, all over her body. Those points are specifically mentioned in the standard, and it's easiest to look at the standard to see where the acceptable places for those rosettes should be. But Abyssinians, you may want to pose to the side as well, as you would be able to see all of the rosettes placed nicely. Okay, there's 13 breeds of cavy. An easy way to remember how their names. There's 3 breeds that don't have any duplicates. So there's the cornet, the white-crested, and the texel, and they don't have any satin counterparts. Whereas the Americans, Abyssinians, Peruvians, Silkies, and Teddies all have satin counterparts. The satin just means that they have a gene in their DNA that makes their hair shaft hollow, and it makes their hair extra reflective to light, so they look shinier. And they have sheen is what that would be called, sheen. So those breeds, American satin, Abyssinian satin, Peruvian satin, silky satin, Teddy and Teddy satin. And then the cornet, white-crested, and texel make up your 13 breeds of cavy. Hi again. I'm going to present this showmanship to you quickly and as if I was a 4-H showmanship senior year coming up to the show table for my presentation. Just a reminder, be in a button-down shirt. I'd be standing, not touching the table, with about a hand's width in front between my legs and the table, and my hands would be behind my back, and make sure my hair's pulled back and smiling while presenting, making good eye contact with the judge. So, here I go. Front view. Side view. The left side of the cavy, I'm showing the ear tag if there was one here, and also the side profile of this white crested. Replacing the front view. Other side, right side view. This side I would be showing the breeder's tag if there was one in the right ear, and also the right profile side of this white crested cavy. Placing the front view. While in front view, I'm going to check the eyes, checking the eyes for blindness, PI, and to make sure that they're appropriate color and bold for the breed of cavy. Checking the ears of the cavy, checking for ear mites, any debris, making sure the ear tag placement in the front 1/3 of the ear is correct, and if the ear carriage is appropriate for the cavy. They should be rose petal shaped and laying nicely against the face. For rear view of the cavy, I'll be checking for flea, mites and lice, 3 different places. There's no evidence of mice or lice on this cavy. Be checking the front legs for straightness on this cavy. Also checking that she has 4 toes on each front foot, no bumblefoot or pododermatitis, and that her feet are the appropriate color and no broken bones on this cavy. Repose her so she stays straight. Be checking the sex of the cavy. She should be a sow, senior sow, and she is. Checking the rear legs for straightness and number of toes, broken or missing toes. Her rear legs are straight, there's 3 toes on each foot, and her feet are the appropriate color for the variety. Checking the crest on this cavy because she is a white crested. It isn't incomplete, but the white parts are good, and the point is very pinpoint and appropriate for the breed. Checking the teeth and nose of the cavy. Checking for malocclusion or any problems with biting or saliva down her face if she had malocclusion. Don't find any evidence of any. Checking the cavy for any evidence of lung disease by listening. Can hear her sniffing and breathing, and her heart sounds good. For pivoting the cavy, for checking her face, picking up the cavy, making sure that I don't see any debris around her nose or around her eyes. Again. And to begin to carry and hold, I'll place the cavy, pick the cavy up, place her in my arm, and place one hand over her, always making sure to support her back and her rump at the same time.